Let me ask you something. Your heart is a liability. It's a traitor living inside your chest, convincing you that passion, excitement, and desire are the true paths to success. You've been told to follow it, to trust your emotions as if they were guiding you toward greatness. But what if everything you've been taught about following your heart is wrong? What if the emotions you trust the most are the very things holding you back? They understood something most people never realize. True power does not come from being ruled by your feelings. It comes from mastering them, from rising above the chaos inside you and choosing clarity over reaction. In a world where most people are pulled in every direction by their emotions, the ones who stay steady, who think before they react, are the ones who hold the real power. Have you ever noticed how emotions can take over your life? One moment you're on top of the world, the next you're spiraling into despair or worse, making rash decisions that only bring regret. That text you shouldn't have sent. That decision you made because you were too emotional. What do they all have in common? Emotion. It's the source of so many mistakes, and yet it's the one thing most people cling to. Society teaches you that your heart should lead, but that's a dangerous game. When you let your emotions control you, you become vulnerable to manipulation, to failure, and to disappointment. And here's the truth. Emotions make you reactive, impulsive, and easy to manipulate. There's no wisdom in that, only chaos. In a world that constantly encourages emotional expression, the real challenge is learning to detach from those impulses. When you step back, you gain perspective. You begin to see the bigger picture and the consequences of your actions before they unfold. Emotional detachment isn't about shutting yourself off from feelings. It's about gaining control over them. It's about using them, not letting them use you. And here's the paradox. The more you disconnect from your emotions, the more control you gain over them. Think about it. If you react emotionally to everything, you lose your power. You are no longer the driver of your own life. But when you hold back, when you let your mind take charge, you can act strategically in a way that serves your long-term goals. But this shift isn't something that happens overnight. It's a practice, a daily effort to detach from your impulses and to pause before responding. The truth is, you're not your emotions. They are signals, not commands. You are the observer, the one who watches without being swept away. When you learn to separate yourself from your feelings, you no longer let them dictate your reality. You can face challenges with a clear mind because you've trained yourself to be unaffected by the noise of your emotions. This doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop letting your feelings control you. And once you make that shift, you start to see the world through a different lens, one that is not clouded by fear, anger, or desire. Imagine walking into any situation with a calm, collected mind. No matter what's happening around you, you remain unaffected. You don't get rattled when someone disrespects you. You don't panic when things go wrong. You simply assess, think, and act. This ability to remain calm in the face of adversity is where true power lies. It's not in being loud, in seeking validation, or in reacting to every external stimulus. True power is quiet. It's steady. It's in the ability to stand firm while the world around you trembles. And it's a skill you can cultivate. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Our minds often exaggerate our emotional responses. We catastrophize, we spiral, and we imagine worst-case scenarios. All of this drains our energy and clouds our judgment. But what if you could stop yourself in those moments of panic? What if instead of letting the emotion take over, you paused? What if you could replace fear with clarity and worry with action? By refusing to engage in emotional turmoil, you begin to shape your reality. You stop the endless cycles of overthinking, and you start making decisions from a place of peace. That's the shift I'm talking about. Turning away from the emotional noise that surrounds you, and stepping into a space where only your rational mind reigns. It's in this space that you make the best decisions, the ones that move you forward instead of pulling you back. The more you practice this detachment, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, it becomes second nature. You stop reacting and you start responding with purpose. But detachment doesn't mean isolation. It doesn't mean you stop caring. In fact, it's the opposite. By learning to detach emotionally, you begin to care about the things that truly matter. You become more focused and more intentional with your actions because your energy is no longer wasted on fleeting emotions. You stop getting swept up in the drama of life, and you start to see everything more clearly. And in that clarity, you find the ability to make your next move with precision and power. Imagine waking up every day knowing that your emotions won't control you, that no matter what happens, Whether you face rejection, failure, or success, you'll stay steady. You won't be the leaf tossed around by the wind. Instead, you'll be the tree standing firm and strong. This is what emotional detachment can give you. The ability to stand your ground no matter the storm. And when you can do that, you unlock your true potential. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and become the creator of your own destiny. So where do you start? It begins with awareness. Start noticing when your emotions are driving your actions. When you feel anger rising, stop and ask yourself, why am I reacting this way? And what's the deeper fear or desire behind this feeling? By questioning your emotions, you begin to separate yourself from them. You create space between the feeling and the response. And in that space, you gain control. This isn't about shutting off your emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's about seeing them for what they are. Temporary, fleeting, and often misleading. When you stop giving them so much power, you give yourself the freedom to act from a place of clarity and strength. You stop being at the mercy of your emotional impulses, and instead, you become the one who decides how to respond. This is how you win, by mastering yourself, by controlling your reactions, and by taking ownership of your life. When you stop reacting, when you stop letting every small setback throw you off course, you become stronger. It's like a storm that can't touch the ground. Think of a ship in the middle of a storm. The waves crash, the winds howl, but the ship stays steady, cutting through the waves because it has a strong rudder. That's what emotional detachment gives you. It gives you a rudder. It keeps you on course no matter how fierce the winds are. Emotions will come and go like waves, but you don't have to be swept away by them. You don't have to be tossed around. Instead, you learn to navigate, to steer your life with precision. You start to see every challenge as an opportunity to practice this skill. Every moment of tension, every moment of doubt is just a chance for you to anchor yourself deeper. The less you let your emotions control you, the more you control the direction of your life. The key here is consistency. Emotional detachment isn't a skill you master once and then forget about. It's a constant practice, a daily choice to remain calm, to stay grounded no matter what happens. Life will test you. People will challenge you, but with every test you have a choice. Will you react emotionally or will you stay steady? Will you let the world dictate how you feel or will you take charge of how you respond? This doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you don't let those feelings drive your actions. You acknowledge them, but you don't act on them immediately. You take a moment, you breathe, and you respond with intention. This gives you an edge that most people will never have. You become the one in control, the one who isn't easily swayed, the one who is prepared for anything. Most people live their lives in reaction to the world. They feel the ups and downs and they let those emotions decide their fate. But when you detach from those reactions, you free yourself from the whims of the world. You don't have to follow the emotional roller coaster that others are on. You can stay steady, stay focused, and stay true to your path. This is what allows you to move through life with purpose. When you detach from the constant pull of emotions, you create the space to think clearly, to make better decisions, and to keep moving forward no matter what obstacles come your way. You stop being a victim of circumstance, and you become the master of your own destiny. But this doesn't come easily. It requires practice, self-awareness, and a willingness to face the discomfort of not reacting. It's hard at first. You'll want to respond immediately when something triggers you, but the more you practice, the easier it becomes. You learn to pause before you act. You learn to let go of the need for validation, for approval, and for certainty. You start to understand that you don't need to control everything around you. You just need to control how you respond to it. The world can be as chaotic as it wants to be, but you have the power to remain calm in the center of it all. Epictetus once said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." This simple truth is at the core of emotional detachment. You don't need to control the world. You need to control yourself. Your reactions are the only things you truly own in this world. And when you learn to control them, you can control your life. It's a liberating feeling, knowing that no matter what happens, you have the power to remain steady. You don't have to be swept away by the world. You can choose to stand firm, no matter what storm is raging around you. As you continue to detach from your emotions, you'll notice something remarkable happening. You start to make better decisions. You stop letting fear or anxiety cloud your judgment. You stop making decisions based on what feels good in the moment, and you start making decisions based on what will serve your long-term goals. This is where the real power lies. Most people live for the moment, making decisions based on how they feel right now. But when you detach from those feelings, you can make decisions with a clear mind, without the influence of immediate emotions. And that's when you start to win. Because the people who can think clearly, who can act without being driven by their feelings, are the ones who succeed. This isn't about being emotionless. It's about mastering your emotions, not letting them control you. It's about choosing when to feel and when to stay focused. Emotional detachment is not a lack of emotion. It's the ability to act without being controlled by it. It's the freedom to respond to life's challenges with clarity and purpose. It's the power to take control of your life, no matter what's happening around you. And once you've mastered this, you'll realize that nothing can stop you. Not fear, not anger, not frustration. You become unshakable. The practice of emotional detachment is an ongoing process. It takes time, but with each step, you'll find yourself more centered, more focused, and more in control. You'll stop reacting to the world, and instead, you'll start shaping it. You'll move through life with purpose, knowing that you are the one in charge. And that is where true power lies. But how do you achieve this emotional detachment? It starts with understanding your own biology. Your brain is wired to react, to feel, and to follow your impulses. Evolution didn't design you to thrive in the modern world. It designed you to survive. Your ancestors didn't need to plan years ahead. They needed to react quickly to threats, whether it was an animal, another tribe, or a changing environment. The problem is that your brain's ancient wiring doesn't serve you anymore. It's like outdated software running on a powerful computer. It's glitching in today's world. Those survival instincts don't help you navigate business meetings or personal growth. Instead, they hold you back. Fear no longer protects you from lions. It holds you back from making tough decisions. Anxiety no longer helps you survive. It keeps you stuck in place, hesitating when you should be moving forward. The fight or flight response isn't suited for everyday life anymore. It's a hindrance. And this is why you must fight against your own biology. You must learn to turn off that emotional response and stay in control. It's not easy. Your instincts have been honed over millions of years, but they aren't always helpful now. Take fear, for instance. In the past, it was a powerful tool. It kept you alert. It made you act quickly to avoid danger. But now, fear often surfaces in situations where no danger exists, like starting a new project or asking for what you deserve. It paralyzes you, feeding you worst-case scenarios. The trick is not to ignore fear, but to acknowledge it and move forward anyway. The more you learn to control your reactions, the more power you have over your life. This control is not about suppressing your emotions. That would only create inner conflict. Instead, it's about recognizing your emotions for what they are. Biological signals, not commands. These signals aren't supposed to dictate your behavior, but too often they do. That's where the real work begins, observing your emotions without getting swept away by them. The less you let them rule your decisions, the more you control your life. Once you understand that your mind is working with outdated software, you can begin to reprogram it. You can begin to see your emotions as tools, not as masters. And this shift in perspective is what makes all the difference. Once you detach emotionally, you begin to think with clarity. You stop reacting to every bump in the road. Instead, you start analyzing situations with a calm mind. It's like stepping out of the chaos and into the driver's seat. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time and practice. But every moment you don't react emotionally, you strengthen your ability to stay calm in the face of adversity. You start making decisions with intention, not impulse. This doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop letting feelings decide your actions. It's a powerful way to live, and it's what allows you to navigate life's challenges with grace. As you begin to master your emotions, you'll notice a shift in the way you approach life. You stop overreacting to things that used to send you into a spiral. You stop worrying about what others think. You stop letting fear make your decisions for you. It's not about denying your feelings. It's about not letting them dictate your choices. You realize that you are not a slave to your impulses, but the master of your own actions. This is the power of emotional detachment. It's not coldness or indifference. It's the ability to stay grounded no matter what happens around you. It's the strength to make decisions based on what's right, not on what you feel in the moment. This mindset will take you further than any emotional response ever could. In a world where most people are reacting to their emotions constantly, those who remain calm, controlled, and calculated will stand out. They will rise above the noise. The more you practice emotional detachment, the more you will realize that the world does not control you. You control how you experience the world. And this is the ultimate freedom, the ability to choose how you respond to whatever life throws your way. When you stop reacting impulsively, you open the door to a more intentional, more empowered way of living. The journey to emotional detachment is not easy, but it's worth it. As you learn to observe your emotions without acting on them, you begin to free yourself from the chaos of emotional reactivity. You stop being tossed around by life's storms and start navigating them with purpose. This is not a passive way of living, it's an active choice. It's a decision to take control of your reactions, to stay calm when everything else is in turmoil, and to make decisions based on logic, clarity, and long-term vision, not short-term feelings. The more you practice this, the more powerful you will become. It's the key to mastering yourself and your life. When you experience strong emotions, your brain can temporarily reduce your ability to think rationally. You become reactive, making decisions based on immediate feelings rather than long-term strategy. This is where most people fall short. They let their emotions take the wheel, and that's when they make mistakes. When you're angry, scared, or anxious, you're not thinking about the consequences of your actions. You're simply reacting to the immediate stimulus in front of you, and that's dangerous. The truth is, we all experience moments of intense emotion, and in those moments, it's easy to lose sight of what's important. We start making decisions driven by the need to feel better right now, even though those decisions may lead to regret later. But here's the thing. Once you realize that your emotions can hijack your decision-making, you can start to fight back. The people who rise above this have learned to keep their minds clear. They've learned to act without letting their feelings cloud their judgment. They've developed the ability to step outside of their emotions, to observe them without becoming consumed by them. This isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's about not allowing them to control you. It's about recognizing when your emotions are driving you and choosing not to let them dictate your actions. It's about having enough self-awareness to pause and ask yourself, am I reacting based on how I feel in this moment, or am I making a decision with a clear mind? The answer to that question can make all the difference in your success, your relationships, and your overall well-being. Carl Jung once said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." To accept yourself means acknowledging both your strengths and your weaknesses, your emotions and your rationality, without letting any of them dominate. This is the key to emotional detachment, not rejecting your feelings, but recognizing them without being controlled by them. When you can do this, you begin to experience true freedom. You are no longer a slave to your emotions. You are the one in control, making decisions based on logic and strategy, not fleeting impulses. And when you can remain calm, focused, and rational in the face of adversity, you will stand out. While others are reacting emotionally, you'll be making thoughtful, deliberate choices that move you closer to your goals. The process of emotional detachment begins with self-awareness. It starts with noticing when you're about to make a decision based solely on emotion. That moment of recognition is crucial. Once you become aware of how your emotions influence your choices, you can begin to interrupt that cycle. Instead of immediately reacting, you pause, you take a breath, you step back, and you evaluate the situation logically. This pause doesn't need to be long. It's just long enough to create space between the emotion and your response. In that space, you have the power to choose your actions intentionally, not out of habit or emotional impulse. This ability to detach allows you to handle conflict with a level head. When others are yelling, getting defensive, or arguing from a place of emotion, you can remain calm and focused. You're not drawn into the chaos. You're not swept up in the drama. You see things clearly and make decisions based on what will bring the best long-term result, not what will immediately soothe your feelings. It's a powerful way to live, because it means you don't let the world push you around. You stay grounded no matter what's happening around you. And when you stay grounded, you can move forward with clarity, purpose, and control. This doesn't mean you suppress your emotions or pretend they don't exist. Emotions are a natural part of being human. They provide valuable information about our inner world and our reactions to the world around us. But the key is not letting them take over your decision-making process. When you learn to observe your emotions without being ruled by them, you free yourself from the constant pull of your feelings. You can experience them, acknowledge them, but not let them decide your actions. This is the practice of emotional detachment. When you stop letting your emotions control you, you stop being a slave to the whims of life. You stop being at the mercy of every passing feeling. Instead, you become the one who determines your course. You become the one who decides how to respond, who chooses how to act. This is where true freedom lies, in the ability to control your reactions, to stay grounded when everything else is falling apart, and to make decisions that align with your long-term vision, not your immediate emotional impulses. Emotional detachment isn't about denying your feelings. It's about using them, understanding them, and choosing to act with intention no matter how strong the emotions may be. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes. It's a muscle that gets stronger with time. At first, it's difficult to separate your feelings from your actions. But with each moment of awareness, each decision made with clarity, you begin to build a habit of emotional control. And over time, this habit becomes second nature. Eventually, you reach a point where emotional detachment feels effortless. You no longer react impulsively. You act intentionally, with focus and purpose. This is where true strength lies. It's not in avoiding feelings, but in choosing how to respond to them. It's in taking control of your life and becoming the person who can navigate any situation with calm and clarity. This is the turning point. You must stop seeing your emotions as truth. Instead, start seeing them as noise. Emotions often feel so real, so immediate, like they are the most important thing in the world. But they're not. They're simply signals, like alarms ringing in your mind, but not necessarily indicating a real danger. Imagine yourself as a pilot flying through a storm. The instruments are going haywire. The alarms are blaring, warning of every potential risk. The amateur pilot panics, reacts impulsively, and crashes. The master pilot, however, remains calm. He doesn't listen to the chaos around him. He trusts his training, focuses on the horizon, and lands the plane safely. That's how you must approach your emotions. They will scream in your ear, telling you to act immediately, to react, to do something. But in those moments, you must become the master pilot. Instead of letting your emotions take the wheel, you must stay calm, focused on your course, and make decisions with a clear mind. Your emotions are not the truth of the situation. They are simply signals trying to get your attention. It's easy to get lost in the noise, to mistake those signals for guidance. But once you realize that emotions are not facts, that they are simply your mind's response to the world, you can choose to navigate life with clarity rather than being swept away by every emotional storm. The challenge is learning to listen to your emotions without letting them dictate your actions. You can acknowledge what you feel, you can learn from it, but you don't have to obey it. The moment you understand that distinction is the moment you begin to reclaim control over your life. Your greatest battle is not with the world around you, it's with the emotions inside you. Every day you are faced with a choice. You can allow fear, anger, doubt, and frustration to control your actions, or you can rise above them. You can pause, think clearly, and choose your response with intention. The truth is, life will never stop testing you. There will always be challenges, setbacks, criticism, and uncertainty. But none of those things have the power to break you unless you give them that